Oh, great. Two, one, let's go. Shit. All right, whatever. Fucking. I just looked up and I was like, oh, there's the countdown. All right. What's up, Shawn?
All of a sudden, usually, dude, it's 5, 4,
Yeah,
3,
no,
2,
I
1.
just,
Let's go.
I was
All of a
just
sudden, I'm
eight.
sitting here and I hear 2. I'm like, what?
I was like ADD just hit me. Like I was just staring off, and well, you know what I was trying to do is I'm already glitchy as shit. So I don't know what the fuck, man. Well, I do know what the fuck. I got this right here. This is the fucking computer. It's just not hooked up because I need a new piece of hardware to make my computer a monitor. Um, I was lied to. I was lied to by the Geek Squad. They're supposed to know. They're the geeks.
They're supposed to be geeks.
They're supposed to be geeks. They were shitty geeks. Yeah, I went in and so here's what I went in and bought the new computer, which is it's got more memory or RAM or whatever the fuck, because that's what everybody's been telling me the problem is, why we're glitchy. It's because I bought a $1,500 fucking computer thinking that would be good enough, but no. No, it's 8 gigs, and Mac solders their RAM in, so you can't add more because they're fucking cunts.
Yeah, that much is true. You can't add more.
So, I was actually going to look for a new computer, like a whole new like setup, and then when I got there, I was like, oh, this is it's showing red bars. I mean, I got the thing hooked up. All right. Anyway, I get there, the fucking Best Buy guy. I go, hey, I just asked Grok, and it says I can use my M1 2021 iMac as a monitor if I buy this. I shouldn't have said that. What I should have said was, can I use my M1 monitor? Because I basically told him I had already, the AI already told me I could do it. And he was like, oh,
Right.
yeah. He goes, oh, yeah, you can do it. And I was like, all right, great. I get it home. Nope. Nope, you can't. You can, but you got to buy something called Luna, I think it's called, where it's like you plug it in, and then you can use it. It's kind of like a mirroring software. It's like hardware, it's not software. So that should be here tomorrow. So by next week we'll have this figured out. I don't have a problem in my morning show with the glitchy. It's just guests. Anyway.
Right, because it's using a ton of RAM.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Fucking Ram's gay. It's fucking gay.
Yeah, RAM could be a little gay.
Ram is definitely gay. It sounds gay. It's like you put it in a slot. It's all gay. It's just some gay Ram stuff. Anyway, I'm actually not glitchy right now, so let's fingers crossed. Hope that we can get through this without too much max headroom going on. Anyway, all right. So we are here for the weekly breakdown, boys and girls. The weekly breakdown is when me and Shawn break down the week. And pretty much this week has been the New York City mayoral election. It's there's been the Tucker Nick Fuentes things are going on. I'm sure we'll talk about that. Today, Shawn and I were texting back and forth about the Myron Gaines interview on Steven Crowder. And you know what? There's this. Let's start with that, right? So there was somebody in the chat goes, gay Ram. You just got that new thing and you already broke it?
Yeah.
Your new boom, what is it called? A boom stick or a boom?
It's a boom.
It's just a
arm,
boom arm.
I just did something you're not supposed to do. It wasn't broken. And I messed with it, trying to make something happen a little bit with the wire down here.
I bought the cheapest Amazon one, and you can hear it. Like it's got that like.
I used to have that same one, and I was like, I need to get it off my screen. It was just clogging up my screen, so I got this really cool thing, and it's a great boom arm.
Well, you know what? I've noticed what you had before. The setup you had before was you did it upside down. I think you did it upside down, right? By the way,
I had it on a scissor.
Yeah, you had it different than mine, so it was always in your face. Now the way you have it set up.
Oh yeah, it was in my face. I had all sorts of issues with my mics, but
You know what?
I'm still
Actually,
working on it. Like this whole thing, I try like to make this an optical illusion.
okay. I just checked, and my voice sounds way fucking better now that I adjusted it. So, all right, good.
Cool.
I've been having issues with my situation because I think I accidentally hit something. I changed something, and I think it was this little like lever right here that's over the 48V.
Ah,
And
yes, 48V. That's phantom power. You don't want to be using
no,
that.
you don't touch that. It's got you can press it or you can move it. It's kind of like what like that Bop It game. And I think I accidentally hit it, and then I tried to adjust it. It's kind of like when you shave your beard and you try to shave it and then you take a little too much off, so you try to even it out on the other side, and then by the time you're done, you just fucked everything up. That's kind of what happened. I just kept
Yeah,
hitting.
no, I have my 48V on because I use a cloud lifter preamp that uses phantom power, but um
Wait, were you being serious about Phantom Power? I thought you were fucking with me.
no. 48V, that's called phantom power.
What
Yeah.
is what is that? What is that? That sounds
So
crazy.
basically, yeah, basically it's delivering power to there are certain types of microphones. I think there
Oh yeah, mine needs it.
yours does need phantom power.
Well, it said so when I got the instructions. That's why, because there's a little tab on the back that says okay, it says 40 it says 40, 50 and what does that say? Fucking hold on. We got the light. It says 40 dB for condenser. And then
Yep.
if you have a dynamic microphone, which mine is, it's 50 dB and 60 dB. So I have it set to 60. And then I think I'm supposed to hit the
Well, that's
40.
your yeah, that's your gain, but the phantom power is something completely different working with different types of microphones. I think condenser microphones, they don't they need power supplied to it from something else. So these,
That's
your interface, my interface will deliver power to it. Mine doesn't. It can work on regular XLR, but I use a preamp called Cloud Lifter, which
this all sounds
clarifies
made
this whole
this
thing.
this all
Yeah,
sounds made up. I think you're
it's
making this
a
up.
it's a Mossad psyop at the end of the day.
It's definitely the Jews. The
It's the
Jews.
Jews.
The Jews did it.
The Jews.
Speaking of the Jews, okay, so today I literally had to like stop watching the fucking thing because it was so annoying. The first hour of the Steven Crowder Myron Gaines interview, it's unbearable. And I'm not saying this because I'm a hater. I'm telling you, it was fucking unbearable. I think I just fucked something up. Hold on.
Oh no.
I did, didn't I? Oh no, wait, that was yours. Check, check. No, that was mine.
Mm.
Hold on. Now we gotta fucking go back up to the DB settings. I was at 15. There we go. Close. All right, check, check. There we go. I'm back. Long story short, Myron Gaines talks about how women are bitches and you got to treat them like hoes and you got to have sex with 50 women and make six figures. And I'm just like, this is the dumbest fucking interview ever. Like it really is. It's like all the shit that he's spouting off is just nonsense. And it wasn't until hour two. I literally I was like, I give up. I was waiting for Steven Crowder to talk to him about regular shit. But then I looked at it and I go, oh my God, this is a 2 hour interview. Like, and Crowder doesn't normally do those, but I found out why he did it. I found out why he had the long interview today. He was doing a change my mind that said deport all illegal. So that's going to be airing maybe tomorrow or next week. So he was doing the live event and he doesn't let people know when he's going to colleges because he doesn't want them to have, prior knowledge.
Right, that
After,
makes sense. That makes
especially
sense.
he did this before. It's not a Charlie Kirk thing. He always did it like that because
No, but that still makes sense. It's a
yeah,
telegraph.
yeah, you don't want to let people know where you're going to be, especially if you're hated, like we are. So anyway, that's why he aired this pre-recorded thing. So after the second hour, they finally start getting into the Hitler shit, and I sent you a couple of clips about what Myron Gaines said. So apparently, and it was actually very telling. First of all, the contrast between Tucker Carlson's interview and Steven Crowder's interview. Some people have already been in my comment section like, Steven Crowder was cozying up to him and being buddy-buddy. Not necessarily. He was being nice to him. He was being cordial. And that's how a good interview should be. You shouldn't go when you're going into a debate, that's different. When you're doing an interview, right? You don't want to just be like, well, you're a piece of shit. You want to have a comfortable situation where you can talk about ideas. That's a free marketplace of ideas. That's perfectly fine. I saw nothing wrong with the way that Steven was being nice to him. And there was one point where Steven Crowder goes, "Okay, so you said something about Hitler. I don't know what did you say? Hitler good? What the fuck?" And he just literally said
right.
It's clear that Steven and Gerald don't agree with him, but they're being nice to him because they are hosting him. They're being gracious.
And they're being professional.
Professional.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. But they asked him questions about what he has said, and Myron answered them. And because they were nice to him, because they were being cordial, he felt very comfortable talking out of his ass.
Guard down.
Yeah, he was literally saying. So, I don't know if I want to even try to play a clip, but let's try it. Let's see if we can play it. Let's see if we can play a clip without glitching the fuck out. All right. This is going to be my video because I'm not going to upload the video, so I won't even do the second half of my video because I'm not talking through the first of it, but you're going to see my face in it. All right. Right here. And basically, Myron Gaines is saying essentially, right, that he doesn't actually believe in what he's been saying. He's just saying it because, according to him, because of free speech. If you want to buy that, I have some oceanfront property to sell you in Oklahoma. But right here, and Shawn, you're not going to be able to hear it, but I already sent it to you.
Yeah, I watched it.
I'll narrate while he's talking, and you'll be able to hear me. It'll be a little slow. Here we go. Okay.
Sure, we hit
so
Hitler.
This is
yes, because I don't really have all that much time. All right, you said what? Hitler's I don't know. I don't want to. Something about Hitler being
good.
Just go.
What
Which
fuck?
one? Hitler. Okay, yeah.
Hitler's
So
good. So my thing with Hitler was that
I don't know what that follows. What did the community? I'm trying to give you a clean slate to just sort of because there's no way that this is not going to result.
Okay, no.
Oh jeez.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
So
if
this
you
is where it gets a little strange. Myron's about to say.
I'm just kidding. So my thing is this, right? So we all know that the past 4 years we have to deal with insane levels of censorship,
Yes,
whether it be
it's
from
a
YouTube or
thing.
Twitch or these other bullshit ass platforms. You know, we've all been targeted. You guys have been targeted. I've been
This is
targeted.
only a minute
Everyone
30.
on the right wing, to some degree, has been targeted with the last super pro censorship era that we came from with the Biden administration. So when I talk about, Hitler is one of the most misunderstood individuals in history,
When I talk
or
about Hitler,
was everything true
it's
that
a
they told us about
censorship
World
thing.
War II?
It's a middle finger.
What
to
I'm really
YouTube.
talking about is it's a middle finger to censorship. So when I throw up a Roman salute, it's not about saying, oh yeah, let's gas all the Jews and kill all the Jews. No, it's a middle finger to censorship. And the biggest way to give that middle censorship is to attack the things that they've been censoring the hardest.
So it's attacking the things that they
You guys
censored.
are not going
So
to control
that's
our
why.
discourse. You guys are not going to control our conversations. This is the United States of America. Freedom of speech is important. And for us to continue to be able to have freedom of speech, we need trailblazers that are willing to be really, because if you don't use it, you
We don't
lose
need
it, right?
Sieg Heil.
His argument. All right. I love how Gerald came in at the end. He goes, "Yeah, but we don't need Sieg Heil. That's not how you attack.
Right.
That's not how you attack censorship." All right. Let me get rid of this Brave browser. We're gonna be doing no. I don't think we're gonna be doing a lot of clips today because it's glitchy as shit. We really got to get this thing figured out. All right. How do I turn this bitch off? All right. What if I just do this? 1 sec. Guest presentation. Turn that off. Perfect. All right. So just wanted to get that one clip out there. We have a glitchy show. Trust me, it'll be solved soon. But we won't be playing a lot of clips today. Me and Shawn can do 2 hours without fucking playing clips. It's not that big of a deal. What Myron is trying to say, okay, and it's the dumbest shit ever, all right? What he's trying to say is he's going extreme in his rhetoric so that he moves, kind of like moving the Overton window, where it's like, oh, I'm going to be so extreme that they understand that if we could say anything, we can say there's two genders, right? it's the dumbest fucking argument I think I've ever heard, because like nobody's like saying that you can't say there are only two genders. Nobody's really being sensitive. He's basically living in like the height of 2020. So the goal, the mission has already been accomplished. The goal has already been has been done. Right? It's like YouTube is reinstating people. X is a platform where you can say whatever you want. Rumble's a platform you can say whatever you want. So you don't need to push that boundary in order to
Right.
keep the conversation going. But you made a very good point in my comment section tonight, where you were like, Myron, Myron called me a Jew, and you were like, Myron, is this YouTube? Because I thought this was a middle finger to YouTube, and he's on
Right. Well,
X.
that's what he said. Right.
Yeah. So what
He
I'm
said, I'm doing this because I'm proving a point on YouTube, but he's also doing all of that on X, which
Yeah.
is not YouTube. That's why it's called X and not YouTube. And so it's obvious that it's a lie.
it's
right?
a lie. Yeah.
I mean, and if I was Steven Crowder, I would be very upset that Myron Gaines lied to me today.
I don't think that
And I'm sure
Stevens.
he
Yeah.
expected it.
I don't think that Steven's going to do a secondary takedown of him. I think that what Steven did, and I don't know if Steven did this intentionally or if he genuinely is like kind of a fan of Myron, but I doubt it. I mean, I think that Steven is cordial because Myron's a big creator on Rumble. Myron knows Chris Pavlovsky. I think that Steven's like, Myron's not really a threat or the enemy. He's just a clout chaser. And
Right.
that's kind of how I view him as well. Where Steven might be giving him a bunch of grace and benefit of doubt, where he's like, okay, he says controversial shit. I've said controversial shit, and creating that thing. Here's my problem, and I've been talking about this, and I don't think that people understand how big of an issue this new grifter sensationalism, clout chasing, Hitler good type of shit is, right? Because it's not about what Myron's saying and what Myron believes, it's about what his followers believe. Right? Like
Right.
there are people that watch him who are probably thinking that Myron is being 100% serious, and they don't have the discernment that you and I have, where they're like, yeah, Hitler was a good guy. Yeah, the Jews really are bad. Yeah, I'm going to go kill a Jew. And this is what I got into a debate with a few people about stochastic terrorism and how dangerous it is, right? And it's dangerous when you're promoting propaganda to push a narrative to weaponize a dangerous ideology against useful idiots, which is what stochastic terrorism is. But it's even more dangerous when you're doing it by accident, right? Like when you're literally just like, okay, I get a lot of views when I say like Hitler was right. I get a lot of views when I do that. So I'm just going to keep doing that because it's a reward system, right?
Right. It's rewarding the behavior. It's like any animal that does a trick gets a treat. They're
Yeah.
going to do more tricks because they want more treats.
Yeah.
Simple.
So I think it's clear to you and me and a bunch of other people that what Tucker Carlson's doing, what Nick Fuentes is doing, what Myron Gaines is doing, what Candace Owens is doing is I mean, Brett Cooper is now jumping on board, right? Where they're like, Nick Fuentes is a popular guy. That's because you live in the fucking internet, first of all. But what they're doing is they're going, okay, sensationalism sells. Sensationalism is rewarding.
100%.
It's rewarding my behavior. Look, and you can tell by their rhetoric, like Ian Carroll, Myron Gaines, Jake Shields. What do they always say? They say, "Oh, you're getting ratioed. Oh, I got a lot of views. Look how many views I got. I'm so popular because I have views." Right? Jerry Springer got a lot of views. Okay. If Jerry Springer was talking about fucking geopolitics, I'd be a little fucking concerned, right? Because I'd be like, why are we taking Jerry Springer seriously about the war in the Middle East? But he wasn't. Jerry Springer was getting trailer park people to come on his show and fight each other. Howard Stern got a lot of views. I wouldn't trust him
Well,
about.
it's funny you bring up Howard Stern, because what I've said, and it's along the lines of what you're saying, about the culture. Right? So sensationalism is part of the culture now, and it is what sells. So Howard Stern was revolutionary in radio, right? Because he was a shock jock. You
Yes.
never knew what he was going to say, and he turned that into a business, which fine. He was new. He was it was again shocking. The shock value. It wasn't necessarily the depth of any of the conversations that Howard was having.
Yeah.
It was the shock value.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn this guy on so I hear what crazy thing comes out of his mouth next.
Correct.
And once Howard realized that, right,
Mm-hmm.
he said, well, I've just got to keep getting crazier. I've got to
Exactly.
keep saying these things.
Yep.
And so because if you have a, let's say it's a scale of 0 to 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the level of shock of the stuff that comes out of your mouth, right? Your words, your views. And everyone is used to a baseline of about 3, right?
Yes.
And some guy like Howard Stern comes in and starts running in at a 5, right?
Yes.
And people are like, whoa, what is this? But then 5 becomes the new baseline. So
Yes.
Howard's got to dial it up to a 6, and then a 7, and then an 8, and then a 9, or else what happens? He gets stale, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, this isn't shocking anymore because he says penis all the time on the radio. That's not shocking anymore.
Yeah.
That's just what he did. So in this day and age, I've called the people on the internet, they're just online shock jocks.
Yeah.
And you start off by saying Israel is behind everything, but
Mm-hmm.
then that becomes the new baseline. So
Yep.
now it's Israel's behind everything. Has gone from that to Hitler was a good dude. And
Yes.
I mean, so you've gone from a baseline of about 5 on the shocking scale to
Yep.
like a 9,
Correct.
right? Where you're now praising, people are lecturing us about being a conservative while praising a murderous tyrant, like an actual authoritarian. Whether you
Yes.
believe he was a good guy or not, he was still an authoritarian, right?
Yeah.
We're not supposed to slobber all over those people, right? Unless
Exactly.
I have a terrible read of the room.
No.
I don't think I do.
You're 100% right. And this is what I'm saying, right? What they've done is it's literally a grift, right? It's a grifting community where they're not believing what they're saying. The other, the ironic thing about Myron Gaines' interview was he very early on in the interview, he said something like, he's like, I just try to make sure that I say everything is truthful, everything that's truthful and everything's based in fact. And then, I don't know, like 45 minutes later, he's like, yeah, well, what I'm really saying when I say Heil Hitler is just not Heil Hitler. I'm like, which is it, dude? Like, you're either an arbiter of truth or you're a sensationalist. You can't be both, right? Howard Stern was
Right.
just a sensationalist. People knew that he was ridiculous. They were going there for that guilty pleasure, okay? They're going there people watch Jerry Springer because it's Jerry Springer. People watch wrestling knowing it's fake, right? What these people are doing is they're trying to tie two worlds together of one, journalism, right? We are the new media. You have to be honest and truthful and kind of professional and serious when you deliver news to people, because the people that you are talking to, right, they are making decisions for this country and for the world based off of the information you're giving them. Nobody is making a fucking decision based off of Howard Stern in a studio with a porn star riding the Symbian, right? It's like, that's not happening. So when you have these people like Myron Gaines, that's like, or Dave Smith, right? Dave Smith is a retarded comedian, right? I'm going to talk about I'm going to talk about geopolitics. And this is the funny thing is, Douglas Murray really did nail it in that Joe Rogan interview. And at the time, it hits so much harder now, right? At the time, it didn't resonate as much as it does now, where he was talking about, he's like, you have this dangerous group of people who are flirting with these radical ideologies, and then when they're called out, they're just going to go, I'm just a comedian, right? What Douglas Murray was saying is, there is a space for comedians and there is a space for journalists, and you are a comedian in a journalist space. And it would be like a journalist getting up on stage in front of an audience who showed up to a comedy show and just saying in this like monotone, no joke way, just be like, well, here's a bunch of facts about the wars in the Middle East, right? They'd be like, this isn't what I came here for.
Right.
If this is not funny. No, it's not, right? And what Dave is doing is not funny either. But the point I'm making is the admission that Myron Gaines gave today on Steven Crowder when he said that was what we already knew. And Steven Crowder did a wonderful job, whether it was intentional or not. I want to say it was, where he got Myron to let his guard down and feel so comfortable talking. Where Myron was like, "No, I don't actually hate Jews. No, I don't actually believe in any of this. This is just a middle finger to censorship, and I'm just saying the most ridiculous shit ever." So it's literally just you just admitted that everything that you've been espousing to your audience, who believes you, by the way, right, is a lie. And it's not a middle, he's pretending like he's some free speech revolutionary, like where it's like, oh, I'm doing this so that other people can. No. You're doing it because it's rewarding for you. Like you are getting clicks, you are getting money. You're making money.
You're a dog getting treats. That's
Yes,
what
you're
you
a
are.
dog getting treats.
You're a
And
dancing monkey.
the other thing about the interview, which I alluded to, was the contrast, right? Steven Crowder was respectful. He didn't, he had one moment where he was like, you think Hitler's good? What the fuck? And he had a couple other moments where he was like, I disagree with you here. He had a couple of moments where he was respectfully combative, challenged his ideas, but he asked every question. He goes, why do you said this? Why did you say this? You said this. Why did you say this? What are your views? What are your beliefs on X, Y, Z? In contrast to Tucker Carlson, who literally was just like, he started off his interview with Nick Fuentes like, I just want to say, I think you're a very smart person. I agree with you on a lot of things. And then when you get to the part where Nick Fuentes goes, big fan of Stalin, Tucker's like, okay, we'll circle back to that. Right? It was completely different worlds. And Kevin Roberts was from the Heritage Foundation, was just pinned down by this 47-year-old veteran or 47-year veteran who was talking about how Kevin Roberts coming out in support of Tucker Carlson saying we don't cancel people is a stupid ideology. And I never thought of it this way, but he goes, you're telling me we don't cancel people? You're telling me we didn't cancel David Duke? It's like, yeah, we did. He goes, we canceled David Duke out of the party because his ideology is dangerous. And that's I was like, I never even thought of it that way. We do. We are exclusionary sometimes, where we go, no.
Well, you have to be. You have to have the ability to
gatekeep.
Gatekeep is I don't like the term, but that's what it is, right? I mean, it's no different than, let's say, an employer, interviewing a potential candidate for a job. Like you have to. There's a word, vetting. Yeah, that's what you're doing. You're basically saying, is this person going to help my team or hurt my team? And you look at their characteristics, and if you determine that they're going to hurt your team, then you don't put them on your team.
Going with the team analogy, right? Let's say you have a player on your team. Let's say you're the New England Patriots, right? And you sign this guy who's got who's just, his stats are off the chain, right? He's just an insane running back, right? Like, and in the locker room, he's making everyone's life a living fucking hell, right? Do you trade him even though he's putting numbers on the board? Yes. They've done that
Well, that's what they call a locker room cancer, right?
Yep.
This happens in sports a lot.
Many teams have done this, where they like, why did you trade Terrell Owens? Because he's a fucking asshole, right? Like, that's why.
Right.
Oh, but he's a really good football player. I know. But have you seen?
He can go be a really good football player somewhere else. He doesn't fit here.
He was a cancer to this team, and then he was a cancer to the next team, and then he was a cancer. Colin Kaepernick, right? Fucking the same thing. So I don't want to hear this bullshit about how the right doesn't cancel people, especially when, we've denounced David Duke. And it's not because people forced us to. It's like, it's because we didn't want him in here. So Nick Fuentes is, I mean, ironically, Nick Fuentes was with David Duke in a video and like at this like event. He basically is mini David Duke. So yeah, if you want to call it canceling so that you can gaslight and say that we're doing something like the left does, I don't care. Yes, fine. I concede. Okay. Yes, we want to cancel Nick Fuentes. We want to cancel him out of the movement, if you want to call it that. What we're really,
I'll say cancel him or remove him from the movement, but not cancel. Obviously,
I don't
his
want to
right to
cancel.
speak on platform. I don't want him banned.
I don't want to
You know what I
cancel
mean?
him.
I
Yeah,
don't-
well,
I don't-
we've talked about this. I saw your show. I watch your show as much as I can, and I did see one episode recently, a couple days ago, where you were like, me and Misfit do a show every Wednesday where we say we want these people platformed, and I'm like, yeah. Like, yeah, I was sitting there in my living room going, yes, Shawn, right? Like, we do.
Yeah.
Because I have never in my life said that I think people should not be platformed. What I have said was platform them more, right? Like, I
Oh yeah,
love,
because then like my thing is, so you have Nick Fuentes on X saying Team Hitler, right? I mean, that's the picture that's been going all over the place, right? So if he was banned on X, you would have to go digging on some godforsaken forum somewhere to find the evidence. But he's doing it out in the open. I'd rather these people be out in the open so we can all see it, so that, because for a lot of people, seeing is believing.
Mhm.
I don't want them underground. I don't want them operating in the shadows. I want to see what they're doing.
Yeah,
And I want to
because,
know what they're doing.
well, I mean, I said this, I think it was this morning I said this, right? Where, I mean, I've given you the Weimar Germany example before, but, there's, like we talked about Howard Stern earlier. Howard Stern blew up because the radio stations tried to take him off the air, right?
Right.
It's a phenomenon that has been repeated throughout history, right?
The
Where
Streisand effect.
the Streisand effect, right? Where it's like, okay, if you,
it's Obi-Wan. If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
well,
It's
yeah,
it's Obi-Wan.
it's
I love me
martyrdom.
some Obi-Wan.
I mean, yeah, you could also go biblical. The martyrdom principle. Yeah, it's fucking. I love how that fucking thing looks orange every time. It's supposed to be red, but it looks orange. It looks like
Red, but it's
you look. It
so
looks.
weird.
You look like Ray at the end of at the end of the new one.
We act like that doesn't exist.
Those,
We just act
I
like
liked.
those movies.
You know what? I liked them. I liked them when they came out. Like, as far as entertaining enough to watch, but in comparison to the originals, they are nothing.
Oh gosh.
Like so that's what I'm saying.
I watched them. I could be entertained if anything Star Wars happens, because I'm
Yeah.
not much of a Star Wars nerd. But like, yeah, compared to the original, compared to even the prequels, like episode 1, 2, and 3, the ones that came out in like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Like, compared to those, these were horrible. And
Yeah,
those
no,
weren't that good.
No, those weren't even that good. You want to know a funny story about the new Star Wars, the ones that just came out with Rey and they brought back Harrison Ford? When I don't remember what the first one was, but the first one with Harrison Ford, when
Force Awakens.
Force Awakens. When the Force Awakens came out, I went to see it with my buddy, and I fell asleep. Like, I don't know, less than halfway in, I just fell asleep, and I woke up. Spoiler alert, guys, by the way. All right, it's been long enough. You should have seen it by now.
It's been way long enough. This is we're not in spoiler territory.
I woke up at the exact moment where Kylo Ren killed Han Solo. Like, I literally so I literally went. I
woke up from your dreams into a nightmare.
I literally woke up and I go, wait, what the fuck? I go, I would have rather have slept through the whole movie. And like that way, when I watched it the second time, I would have been surprised, but I sort of like just woke up like, I don't know. I got 20 minutes into the movie. I was exhausted. I got 20 minutes into the movie. I fall asleep. I wake up. Han Solo's dead. And I'm like, what the fuck? I missed the whole movie. And I just know, all I know is that Han Solo's dead now. Like, shit. So that happened. Anyway. All right. So, yeah. I mean, look, here's the thing. We talk about this a lot. And I don't think that Steven Crowder actually understands how big of a problem this is. And other people, I think a lot of people don't understand how big of a problem with this. And I hope I'm wrong. I'm not, but I hope I am. The woke right is one of the biggest problems that we are facing right now. I believe it is. I really believe it is. I think that people like Matt Walsh are in denial and they are ignorant. I think that people,
Megyn Kelly right now,
yeah,
I'm like, how are you guys, because he's talking about how
they're gaslighting too, by the way. They're like, oh, Megyn Kelly, she said it 5 times. She goes, people really have a problem with Tucker platforming Nick. No, we have a problem with him being a PR rep for Nick. Right?
Correct. And then there's the other gaslighting thing too, where it's like, oh, you're criticizing Tucker. Well, so you want him canceled? I was like, no, I just want him to handle it a little differently. Like if I was doing the interview, I would have done something differently. It's criticism. Criticism is okay.
Yeah.
Never once, not ever, did I come out and say Tucker should be wiped off the internet. And no, I said if he's going to platform a guy like Fuentes, a little pushback would be okay. But then I said, because we recognize patterns and we notice things. He did the same thing with Vladimir Putin and the clean subways and stores in Russia. And he whitewashed over, the nun or whoever that was.
Stephanopoulos' sister.
That one. And he's done this. He's done this a number of times.
The dude from Monty Python. Yeah. No, it's like, so that's what I'm saying. It's like, and my show earlier today, I put together a super clip of Steven Crowder. They took me out of context because they clipped my video where it said,
I saw that.
I said, people are saying that the right is trying to cancel Tucker Carlson and he's not MAGA, and this is 100% correct. And then they cut the video, so it looked like I said we're trying to cancel Tucker Carlson. So Gerald Morgan, CEO, he saw it, he responded, and he goes, we're actually just saying that you said he's not MAGA, but I understand your point now. And I actually said this on the show. I go, I bet you they didn't realize they did it. Right. And he goes, I apologize. And I go, all right, well, you are admonished. And I gave him the admonishment button. So we're good. We're good. It was exactly what I thought it was. It was an honest mistake by Crowder. But I put together the super clip, and what I was saying was everything that Steven was saying. Steven Crowder actually did a really well takedown of Tucker Carlson, where he goes, yeah, I don't have a problem with Tucker, and I don't think that the proper message is to just say he's anti-MAGA, because that's really lazy. You could go after him for promoting Russian grocery stores. You could go after him for not pushing back, and you could go after him for praising Maduro. You could go after him for praising Sharia law. And I'm like, well, if you guys watch the rest of my fucking video, I literally did all those things. Right. And that's the point. Me and Shawn, now Randy Fine, Mark Levin, you can make that argument that that's what they're doing. You can make that argument that they're literally just saying he's an anti-Semite, cancel him. I think it's lazy, and I agree with Steven. But that's not what I'm doing at all. I didn't belong in that montage. I'm very happy to be featured on Steven Crowder, but I just didn't feel like I belonged in there, because what we do is we say, this is a pattern of behavior with Tucker Carlson. He's got Putin, Andrew Tate, Nick Fuentes, Maduro, like the nun, Sharia law, Daryl Cooper. He's got the Hodge twins, by the way, just came back out, and they go, the Hodge twins show is back, and guess who our guest is? Myron fucking Gaines. Like, this podcast circuit of anti-Israel nut jobs is literally just fluffing each other for the past 11 months.
Circle jerk.
It's a circle jerk, and you wonder why the Democrats just fucking crushed the elections last night. It's because we have literally just been, not me and you, but the people on the right have literally just been focused about a country in the Middle East the size of New Jersey for the past 10 months. And it's like, Tucker Carlson has only mentioned Zohran Mamdani once, and he was praising him, right? Like, he hasn't mentioned Jack Ciattarelli. His latest episode is a takedown of Lindsey Graham. I don't like Lindsey Graham either. Let's be very clear, but he's not going after the left. So when Matt Walsh says that we, the people who are calling out the woke right, are the problem because we're not fighting the left. The people that we're fighting are the ones that aren't fighting the left. At least me and you, we talk about the
The
left and the
ones
right.
that we're fighting, and that's what I keep putting in Matt's replies, where he's like, "This is your enemy," and he's talking about the left, and I'm like, Matt, yes,
We're
100%.
we're in agreement.
But here's the problem: the ones that Matt Walsh are telling us to unite with, like Candace,
Yeah.
right, have explicitly said, and I
not
quote,
voting.
"If you are on the left, you are not my enemy."
Correct.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I would like to just, I mean, I don't hate Matt Walsh. I
Me
think
neither.
He's very smart.
I actually,
Right?
I actually kind of like him.
I like a lot of 95% of what he says. And
Am I Racist was one of the best movies ever made. The best documentaries ever made.
So like, let's be kumbaya with the woke right, I would probably agree with like 99% of what he says.
Not Am I What is a Woman was one of the best.
What is a Woman?
Am I Racist? Am I Racist was okay. It wasn't that great. But What is a Woman was one of the best documentaries that has ever been put together. Ever.
But I look at his whole, unity thing, like no enemies to the right. And I'm like, but that's not true. But okay, let's say no enemies to the right. These people are not to the right of you.
Mm-hmm.
They're not to the right of you. They are to the left of you.
Correct.
They are, when Candace Owens says, if you're on the left, you're not my enemy. What else? So she's telling you, I'm not fighting the left. They're not the enemy. So Matt Walsh says the left is the enemy. Candace Owens says the left is not the enemy, but Matt Walsh wants us to unite with Candace Owens? You can't do that.
Well,
that doesn't make sense.
Here's what Matt Walsh is doing, and it's really childish, and it's kind of like, again, it's kind of like a gaslighting tactic where he goes, these people keep telling me to condemn my friends, and I'm just never going to do that. Well, you don't have to, right? Like you don't have to come out and say, fuck you, Candace Owens. What you could do is you could say, hey, the people that are espousing the conspiracy theories about Charlie Kirk are wrong. Like, Erica Kirk finally came out tonight. She said it in the most Christian way possible. But Jesse Waters asked her, there are people that have conspiracy theories about your husband's murder. What do you want to say to them? And she goes, I would like them to have a little grace. I don't want my kids to grow up and see this, right? And that was, I think, the nicest way to direct it at Candace Owens without naming her. She also said, Jesse Waters also said, do you believe that the person who killed your husband is the one that's in prison? And she goes, I trust my team and I've seen the evidence. So she's under a gag order, by the way.
She is. And I think, and I'm going to just float this. I don't know this for sure. Okay. But I'm going to float the possibility. Everyone's like, well, how come Turning Point hasn't named Candace Owens? What if they're not allowed to name Candace Owens? What if there are NDAs, and what if there are stipulations in contractual agreements that Candace with Blexit has with Turning Point USA, where Turning Point is not allowed to? What if she knows that? And
very possible.
She could just be going, look, they can't mention me. So I can say whatever I want.
Yeah.
Okay. About it. They may not be able to mention her. There may be. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm saying
no. That's a really good. I never thought of that. That's a good point. I think that even if that's not true, that could very well be true, Shawn. Like that's something that I've never even thought of. But even if it isn't, here's what I do. Here's what I assume to be under Occam's razor. Charlie Kirk was Candace's friend, right? He never publicly condemned her. And Erica Kirk is his wife and wants to follow the wishes and the example of Charlie Kirk. So I don't think that she would. If you get what I'm saying?
But I understand that. And I also don't think she would jeopardize anything that's going on too, like the trial. So she can't say, I think it's Tyler Robinson, because that will be used.
Oh, she was
to get
very
rid of Mitch
she was very calculated in her answers, and she had to pause and think. And so
How should I? Right.
yeah,
Right.
like what Candace Owens wants, and look, I'm not, I'm just, this is just a guess. This is my opinion. I think what Candace Owens wants is she wants a fight with Charlie Kirk's widow. Like she really, I think that she wants a fight with Charlie Kirk's widow. I think she's so in this social media space. I used to be in this. I've talked about this before. When you're in this like online like the dopamine fucking like K-hole or whatever the fuck it is, where you're just getting drama, 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 dopamine, 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 conspiracy theory, conspiracy theory, conspiracy theory. You really want like you want um what's it called? Like chaos. Like you want like you're on TikTok, so you do the battles and shit like that. I used to do those battles all the time. I used to like think about them while I was at work. Like I'm gonna fucking get on TikTok later and I'm gonna fucking argue with people. And I think Candace is in that mentality of like I want to fight. I want to fight everybody. And she and
Well, that's her
Erica's
brand. We talked about how Howard Stern's brand was shock jock.
yeah.
Candace Owens, and I said this. I want to say, oh, I don't know. It might have been back in March, April, May, time like that. Said, Candace Owens is no better than a WWE wrestler. She's
Yeah.
playing a role. Her role is contrarian.
Yeah.
She made a name for herself by swimming upstream, the black conservative.
Mm-hmm.
And she has to continue to swim upstream, even when swimming upstream makes her actually look like a moron, right?
Yeah.
So, she swam upstream as a black conservative. She swam upstream at the Daily Wire by, getting into it with Ben Shapiro. She's swimming upstream now with Turning Point. She's swimming upstream with Macron. Like she plays the contrarian. It's kayfabe at the end of the day, is what it is. It's like the WWE.
Yeah, and I don't know if you caught the she just posted another fucking poor kid, who was in a green hoodie at the Charlie Kirk
Yeah,
assassination.
and he replied to her and was
He
like,
was like,
"Come
"Hey, I'm
on," 'cause
sorry."
he's gonna wind up getting a lot of like hate from that.
His reply made it seem like he's already getting a fuck ton of messages like, "What were you doing?" Because he literally, I wish I could show you guys clips today, but you can see I'm already glitchy as shit. I don't know what the fuck is going on because I have all of my windows closed. But he goes, how do I? Oh, maybe this is it. It's this fucking thing, isn't it? Stop sharing. OBS Studio. Stop sharing. Oh, I'm afraid if I hit this, something might happen. All right, if everything goes dark, hold on. Stop sharing. Perfect. You still there?
I'm here.
Okay, good. I think I had something on. Anyway, oh yeah, there we go. No more glitchy. Look at me. Haha, that was it. Something was fucking up in the corner there. I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, yeah. So she shares this kid. This kid's like, yeah, I'm sorry. That was me. Me and my friend just dress weird. Yeah, the amount of evidence Candace Owens needed to accuse this kid of being some type of nefarious actor was that he was wearing a hoodie in 90-degree weather. That was it. It's like that's all the evidence she needs. This is the receipts lady. And she's gonna get somebody fucking hurt, dude. Oh yeah. All right,
I think so. I think so. I
got,
feel bad for that guy.
dude. She's a fucking psychopath. All right, good. I've been distracted this whole fucking show because of the glitchy thing. That was it. I was sharing OBS screen with some app. I don't know what the fuck it was. Can you guys still see me? Can Rumble still see me?
I'm looking on Rumble. Yeah, I still see you on Rumble.
All right, good. All right, well then I'm over it now. All right, so I guess we'll move on from that subject. That was just today in the past couple days, but yesterday I think you and I was actually telling everybody, I think you and I are going to disagree because we had a little text exchange about this, about how I think, and you can give me your arguments and say why you think I might be wrong. I think that these Democrats that are winning these races is going to help Republicans potentially in the 2026 and 2028 elections. And you were like, no. And let me explain my argument, okay? I think that the Democrats are not learning from their mistakes, and I think that they are mistakes, right? I think that they lost the 2024 election because the majority of the country is done with the, like, the left going too far to the left. So when Mamdani won New York, it was the beginning of the end for the Democrats, whereas a lot of other people are thinking it means that they are still gaining power, right? However, I think that what you can do now is you can say, okay, they elected Jay Jones after he was literally caught wishing death upon his opponent's children. They elected Mamdani, which is a socialist. They elected the Democrats pretty much down ticket in Virginia, which, like, a lot of people are thinking, like, oh, that means that the Democrats still have a lot of power, which is true. But what the Republicans can now do is they can now go, okay, you guys didn't like this in 2024, so you voted for Donald Trump. You now have 4 more years of it, right? And they haven't gotten any better. They haven't learned their lesson. Meanwhile, all the red states, I showed my my state, San Antonio, my city, San Antonio. Every single thing I voted for got fucking passed. It was basically lower taxes. The only thing that I voted for, there was one, like, initiative where it was like to build a new dementia facility, but it was government run. So I was like, no, I don't want that. I think that the private sector does better at that. But other than that, it was pretty much everything passed. Parental rights in Texas, voter ID passed in Texas, constitutional amendment. So while the blue states are getting bluer and more crazy, I think the red states are getting redder and more sane. And I think there's going to be a mass exodus from New York. I think that the places that all these new people who just won their new seats is just going to get worse and worse. And I think that we can use it as a hammer against them. So what do you think?
Well, I would agree with that if I still believed that this was a debating society that where things like that mattered. But I don't think the left, first of all, and it doesn't matter what they necessarily think, I don't think that they think they're making a mistake because, as we mentioned, their behavior going further to the left, running as a democratic socialist, running in the pro-trans, way that Spanberger ran, Mikey Sherrill, etc. I don't think that they think they made a mistake. And honestly, after last
No,
night
that's what I'm
and the
saying.
results but after last night and the results, they won, and they won by a larger margin than they did than they'd won those states in 2024. Like,
Yes.
this isn't, and I said this morning, like, this isn't 5-alarm fire territory. It's at the end of the day, blue states
It's
voted
blue.
like blue
Yeah.
states,
That's
right?
what, yeah.
But
So that is a good point. But I understand what you're saying is I think that a lot of people were hoping that they were going to see a trend, right? Where they were like,
I
okay,
just wanted to see, I wanted to see competition, right?
yeah.
Going into yesterday's elections, I made predictions in the morning, and I said Spanberger by 7, Sherrill +2, Prop 50. I didn't expect to win. I didn't
Yeah, no,
expect to win anything.
I watched that episode where I was like, oh, Sean pretty much nailed all his predictions.
I nailed the result, but not the margins, right? I
Yeah.
thought we were going to have competition and see some sort of trend and maybe just fall short. And then, what can we do to get us over the finish line? We didn't even come close to the finish line. And that's the problem. So there were two issues, right? So there's obviously, there was this idea that, the left is demoralized after the 2024 election. That's not true because they came out in massive numbers yesterday, right?
No,
So if they were
it's actually the
demoralized,
opposite. They're
right,
they're more
they're more
moralized.
impassioned because they have this resistance, and that is historically what happens to the party out of power anyway. So that's not abnormal, right? I was looking to see, were Republicans going to buck historical trends like they did in 2024? 7 swing states being swept, winning the popular vote. That is a buck of historical trends when it comes to how the Republicans performed. And yesterday, they didn't buck the historical trends. So I don't look at that as a positive thing. And I'm not just saying the Republican performance. I'm saying both performance. I look at the radical left, the only far left candidate who didn't win was the Somali in Minneapolis.
And thank fucking God, I am the captain. I am the captain now. Are you
Captain Phillips guy?
Are you worried?
Mamdani, what happened?
Are you worried that it means that Republicans came out for Trump and everybody came out for Trump because it was a dire consequence situation, and now they just went, nah, fuck it, I'm done with. Like they just went home and they're like, back on the couch.
Well, I don't necessarily. There's a part of people a part of the coalition that did that, but to be fair, there's a part of the coalition on the left that did that also, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that just happens. You get fall off when you go out of a presidential year, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to improve that, but that's going to take a long time because that deals with all this. Here's the problem, right? And unfortunately, we got to look at Trump, okay? The candidates that ran, again, I did not think going into yesterday that we were going to win any races. So at the end of the day, the results, I thought we were going to go over, and we went over. So that's the results. But I thought we were going to see closer margins, and that would
especially in New Jersey
indicate a trend, right? And so especially in New Jersey. But the problem is who were the candidates in Jersey and Virginia? Jack Ciattarelli, who has lost a number of times in New Jersey, including to Phil Murphy 4 years ago, right? And Winsome Earl Sears. I knew people in Virginia, I knew people in New Jersey who were excited to vote, but not because of the candidate. They were excited to vote because of the prospect of being a part of flipping the state red, or in Virginia, maintaining the seat. In New Jersey, I don't know a soul who was motivated to go vote because they actually liked the candidate. When you look at Zoran Mamdani in New York City, can't stand his politics, can't stand his theology.
He's charismatic.
A young, charismatic, energetic, skilled, effective politician. Yeah, he's a snake oil salesman, but he sells a shitload of snake oil, doesn't he? Right? So he's a good salesman, right?
No, I think that
I was never a fan of Tom Brady because he kept beating my football team, but that's because he was really freaking good, right? So like, I look at it this way. Where is that candidate on the right?
On the right. No. You make it.
Ciattarelli ran under he did this shtick called Nice Guy Jack. Nice guy. I don't want any more nice guys.
No, we can't.
I don't want nice guys.
You can't do that.
I want you to load your gloves with lead because they're loading their gloves with lead. Okay? Like,
no.
Nice Guy Jack, you're supposed to be an Italian from New Jersey. You would look like a pushover on the debate stage.
We do need more we need more candidates, and we need better candidates. I mean, like Curtis Lewa was ran an awful campaign. But here's the thing.
What do you do in New Jersey when you have a primary, you have people getting ready, and then Donald Trump endorses Nice Guy Jack?
I know.
What do you do? This is
Well,
the problem.
what we need to do, like, listen, I'm not saying that this is the main problem. I'm saying it's a part of the problem, and there's a lot of factors that are adding to the problem. So what have I been saying for about a year? I've been like, we need to get through this woke right shit so we can get back to endorsing candidates and talking about candidates and pumping up candidates, right? Because all this infighting, like, I hate to use the word infighting because I don't consider them in. I don't consider them in, so I don't think it's infighting. But all of this strife that's happening is a distraction and a demoralization campaign. So I made a post yesterday where I go, the demoralization campaign is working. Now, you have people that are saying, well, the ballot in New York was funky looking and Mamdani was on it twice.
By the way, it wasn't, because Sliwa was also on there twice.
Yeah, but also
he was under the Republican label and the Protect the Animals label.
You have other people that are saying, oh, well, the illegals voted, or people that weren't. And I'm like, look, yes, and yes. Okay, fine, cool. But Mamdani won. All right, like no matter which way you swing it, even if they cheated like crazy, Mamdani actually won. And here's why he won. Because Curtis Lewa got 7 fucking percent and Mamdani got 50 fucking percent. Okay? Like
Right.
when it's a 43-point swing, he won. And I don't want to hear shit about Cuomo. All right. Look, I'm seeing a bunch of people that are mad at Sliwa for not dropping out. And here's what I said this morning. I go, do you realize that the Democrats just ran a strategy that they can play again where they got Republicans to vote for a shitty Democrat? Right? Like
Yep.
they got you to not only vote for one, but endorse them. There was hot girls for Cuomo Republicans. There was even like Sid Rosenberg, good friend of mine. I told him, I was like, bro, you came out with your full chest and you were like, I'm never gonna turn on Sliwa, and then you turned on Sliwa. What they did was they made everybody afraid. They used a scare tactic of the dangerous socialist, Islamo-Marxist, or you could take the guy who killed your grandmother and groped a bunch of women, right? Or you could take the guy who's polling really low. And I said this morning, and I know that we're in agreement because I watch your show. If you had voted for Sliwa and Sliwa had gotten 35% of the vote and Cuomo got less than Sliwa, at least it would have shown that there was a revival in the Republican Party, that we had a spine, that we had some vigor. We wouldn't have won, but look what happened with Lee Zeldin. In Lee Zeldin's race, he didn't win, but we were all like, damn, he got close, right?
He got real close. Yeah. Yeah. I knew
So
that race real well.
I think that that's kind of what you're talking about, where what you're not a fan of, what you're looking at as a negative is the fact that it kind of looked like we were. It's not the fact that we didn't win; it's that we looked like we're defeated. And I would agree with you. I think that what we need to do,
Non-competitive.
non-competitive,
Is
yeah,
the word, right? You know, you're going up against in two blue state. Virginia's a blue state. Jersey's a blue state, right? Like this is not. But
and
they were
Scott
closer
Scott
than
Pressler's only
expected.
one guy, by the way. He's
Exactly.
one really tall gay man. He can't win races. All right, he can do his
Right,
best.
by himself. But here's the thing. So it's like in 24, Virginia was much closer than it should have been. Jersey was much closer than it should have been. If we saw in 25 Jersey and Virginia 5-point races and that was the margin, I'm singing a totally different. I'm coming on to this morning and I'm going. We just continued the trend. No, we didn't win, but we just continued the trend. We showed you that there has been a permanent uprising and reshaping of the electorate in
Yeah.
states like Virginia, in states like New Jersey. And now I can point to those two states on the 2028 electoral map and say, those are swing states. I can't do that after last night because we went from a 6-point margin in Jersey in 2024
Yeah.
to a 13-point margin. We went from a 5-point margin in Virginia in 2024 to a 15-point margin. Now, the reason, again, they're blue states. They could have been 5-point margins, 8-point margins, etc. The candidates that were running there, who was inspired by Winsome Sears?
Yeah, nobody.
Nobody.
I never
Okay.
even heard
I'm
of her
not
until
saying,
like 2
I'm
days
not
before the
saying,
election.
I'm not saying she doesn't have a great story. She's a Jamaican immigrant. She served as a Marine. She ran as lieutenant governor in 21. She won. I'm not saying it's a great story. She was anti-Trump last year. That's number one. Okay.
Yep.
And she's just not inspiring. The same thing with Jack Ciattarelli. Jack is stale. I said this during the primary in Jersey, but Trump endorsed Jack. Now, that's not the only reason Jack won. Jack has more name ID, the most name ID out of anybody in the New Jersey primary this year. I had endorsed somebody different. I don't know if he would have had better or worse results. My point is, and that's not what I try to do. We're not doing sour grapes or Monday morning quarterback. We're just saying the Republicans have two big problems and they go hand in hand. Okay. They have an apathy problem where people don't care about elections. If A, it's not a presidential election, or B, if Trump is not on the ballot. That's number one.
Yep.
That is a huge problem. That has been exposed in a big way.
It's always been like that.
Two,
Yeah.
It has. But number two, why is there an apathy problem? Why are people more excited to vote for Donald Trump than they are for Jack Ciattarelli when Donald Trump endorsed Jack Ciattarelli? Because Jack Ciattarelli is not an outsider. Jack Ciattarelli does not have high energy. Jack Ciattarelli is not going in there and playing, big boy politics. He's out there trying to be friends with Mikey Sherrill instead of defeat Mikey Sherrill. This is the prop. Donald Trump doesn't play that way. He was a fresh voice. He was a fresh face. He was an outsider. He wasn't owned by anybody starting in 2016. And he ran that campaign really for 10 years in a row. He ran on that whole idea, that whole mantra, that whole aura. These candidates that we're putting up in these races are not attractive.
They're not good. No,
but they've got to be.
Well, I said
that's why there's apathy.
What I very early on in the New York race, when Mamdani became the official candidate, I made a post and I said, Sliwa, this is your campaign strategy, right? Your whole campaign strategy is he would have danced at 9/11, right? And
Absolutely.
he didn't do it. Right? Like he went after Cuomo more than he went after Mamdani. It's like
that was dumb.
You're going after second place, dude. You're going after the second place. You're going after the granny killer who's not going to win. Go after the fucking Islamo-Marxist Muslim. So I get what you're saying. Here's what I was saying earlier, though, right? Is what the left is doing, like the winning. I think that it's going to backfire because they are moving further left, right? They didn't put up a bunch of moderate candidates, right? They put up a bunch of fucking crazy candidates, right? They put up a bunch of people that are just like insane. So I hope I'm right about this, where I think what's going to happen is the results of this elections have consequences, are going to push more people towards a walk-away movement. Like, let's say hypothetically, and I've talked about this before, we've kind of predicted this before, but now that Mamdani is the winner, it holds more weight. If there's the fire chief, I believe, already resigned.
FDNY, he's Jewish. He resigned.
The fire chief already resigned. I think that there's a lot of businesses that are already going, okay, we're going to start looking to Texas. We're going to start looking. So like in California, you had this mass exodus where now Zachary Levy, Matthew McConaughey, Billy Bob Thornton, they're all building studios in Texas. Elon Musk took SpaceX to Texas. He took Tesla to Texas, right? And Florida is getting a bunch of the real estate market guys, right? If there's a mass exodus from New York, and New York turns into like a shithole, it's already a shithole, but a shittier shithole, right? If it looks more like Portland or Oakland, even fucking like, like if it looks like that, I think that in 2026, I think 2026 might be a little too soon, but definitely in 2028, I think that people are going to be like, okay, you know what? We didn't learn our lesson in 2024, but then we also didn't learn our lesson in 2025. And I think that now, finally, hopefully, is it bad enough yet becomes bad enough yet? Because that's really what my point is. My point is they are getting closer and closer and closer to, is it bad enough yet? And I think that if it gets bad enough, then I think it's good for us. I don't want it to be good for us. Like I said, I love my country more than I like winning elections. So I wouldn't want to see New York fail over the next 18 months, but it probably fucking will, dude. And the argument, like Jessica Tarloff was on fucking Fox today, and she goes, I don't think that people understand that the mayor doesn't have as much power as you think he does. He can't really destroy a city. Yes, he fucking can, dude. Right? Like
Blasio would like a word.
Yeah, he really fucking can. Like I think that you are drastically underplaying how much power the mayor has, because they are basically in control of the crime and the fucking infrastructure.
No, he doesn't have the power to do a lot of what he said he was going to do in many aspects.
He doesn't control. Yeah, he doesn't control the housing market and
he has
shit like that.
Direct control over the police.
Yes, that's the big one.
And the levers over there of authority. 100%.
Yeah. And what do you think what do you think happens, right? And by the way, Mamdani's acceptance speech where he goes, turn the volume up and I'm going to make this about Trump. I was smiling the whole time. I'm like, more of this, please. Right? Because again, I didn't want it to happen. But now that it's happened, I want it to happen as much as possible, right? I think that you have a fucking choice. And by the way, I said this today, I said this yesterday, I said this a week ago, and I said this a month ago. it went from if this happens, it's your fault to now this happened. New York, this is your fault. Okay, stop blaming Curtis Sliwa. Stop blaming every other thing except for you had decades to fix this problem, right? You didn't put up a good Republican candidate. You didn't push back enough. You didn't create a two-party system. You had a one-party system. You fucked it up. Now, whether you didn't vote for Mamdani, right? You have either left well enough alone, you haven't gotten involved, or you have voted for people like Mayor Eric Adams thinking like, oh, he's a cool guy. No. No. This is a result of your actions. Okay? So you have two options, right? You can stay in New York and you can bitch about it. You can fix, or you can get the fuck out of New York, right? But unless you're ready to put up there needs to be a Rudy Giuliani. There needs to be and you know what? It might be Donald Trump. Like it really might be. You never know, dude. It could happen. Trump might leave the presidency and go, I'm going to run for mayor of
And then
New York.
run for mayor as New York at 85 years old.
He might do it. Motherfucker. Dude, everybody who talks about Trump is like, I sleep more than him. Like he's a machine.
I'll tell you one thing. If you see him change his primary residence back to New York,
Oh,
that's
it's
exactly what
it's
he's
over.
doing.
Over. Game over. If he changes his residence to New York after the election, yeah, game over. But anyway, we will see what happens. Here's what I do know. I do, and we touched on this earlier. I do know that what we are doing in the Republican Party is not helping, right? It's not infighting, right? And by the way, we have to do it, right? This is what I don't like about Matt Walsh, okay? I understand what he's saying. I actually kind of agree with what he's saying, where he's like, I don't think that we should be, spending all of our time attacking each other when we could be attacking the left. He's got a point if you put it like that. But like I said, him and Megyn Kelly keep on gaslighting and making it seem like that there is no problem on the right, so they don't have to address it at all. Whereas I'm saying, no, you're right. We should be addressing the left, but we have to address this first. It just and by the way,
Well, it's like I can't take on the guy in front of me because this son
Yeah.
of a bitch keeps nipping at my ankles.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right? It's like, and by the way, the left is not as big of a problem right now, but we don't want to allow them to regroup. But they really are kind of defeated. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Who is their candidate? Right? Who is the lead?
is their leader right now.
It was AOC. He might have just taken it. He might have just taken the title.
I'm telling you, you're going to get a ticket soon. Well, I don't know if you're going to run a ticket. They may not be able to run a ticket of AOC and Mamdani because they're both from the same state. Someone's going to have to move, but I mean, it can happen. Dick Cheney and George Bush did it. But, their leader right now is AOC and it is Zoran Mamdani.
Mhm.
And in a way, I guess you can make the
Bernie
argument
Sanders.
Jasmine Crockett.
Oh, I was
And-
going to say Bernie Sanders.
Bernie is the elder statesman. Yeah, he's like their mentor. He's
But
like
I mean-
Dumbledore.
But dude, and Gavin Newsom, I guess. But dude, those are just awful candidates, and they are accepted in a place like New York, or in a place like Chicago, in a place like Portland. These are like major cities. The rest of the fucking country is bigger. It just is. So I think that what we're going to see is, and I hope this, I actually hope I'm right about, right? This is what I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see a big red wave in the midterms because we're going to add a bunch of people from to the voter rolls who are just saying, you know what? I've done the Democrat thing for so long, but they just aren't learning. I'm talking about swing voters and moderate Democrats. They're just going to go, I've bit my tongue, I've held my nose for so long. We're going to go. But they won't do that, right? They will not fucking do that if Nick Fuentes becomes the face of the Republican Party.
Oh, no, they're out. And you know who else? You know what the other thing is, too, that Nick Fuentes really hurts us with is women, which we're already hurt,
Exactly.
When you have him talking to, and I'm not saying, I'm not trying to play the feminist card and be like, oh, you can't say bitch. Like, you can say whatever you want. I'm not going to police your speech. I'm saying I know that the Maha moms, right? The Bobby
Mhm.
Kennedy find him repulsive.
Yeah,
Okay.
a lot of people do.
So,
Most
and
people
that's
do.
just it. I mean, I'm sorry. The Maha, I'm not going to vaccinate my child, is so protective of their kid. They don't want their kid exposed to Nick Fuentes. I mean, they are repulsed. They can be like, whoa, that's not what I joined last year
Yeah,
with Bobby
people.
Kennedy,
Nick
right?
Nick Fuentes is breaking out of the social media bubble into the mainstream. He's featured in New York Times, New York Post. Everybody's talking about this Tucker Carlson thing, and this is exactly why we have been pulling the fire alarm for so long. It's only been like a year, less than a year, that this has really become a problem, and it's grown exponentially greater ever since we won. So we have now a choice to make, right? We can go the Matt Walsh route and we can say, "Hey, you know what we should do? We should stop the attacks on Nick Fuentes, let him grow and then challenge his ideas," right? Here's the problem. When we don't challenge his ideas, the left will, and the left will be reasonable. The left will look very fucking reasonable when they're
Yes,
the
they will.
ones leading the conversation against Nick Fuentes. They're gonna look pretty goddamn
Well, that's
fucking.
exactly what we did to the left, right? I mean,
Yes.
men can be women, and then here came Republicans, MAGA, and we just came out and said, no, they can't.
Yeah, and we
They
looked
can't. Like
we
Dylan
look
Mulvaney is a male,
we looked
right?
very
You know,
reasonable.
Leah Thomas is a dude, right? He was born William. That is a biological male. That's a reasonable position that nobody on the left took. So they couldn't say, well, we don't actually believe. We came out and said common sense.
Yeah, the
You do not
Republicans.
want to make it look like the left has common sense.
And they will look like they have common sense if they're going, look
Well,
at
they're
what
already doing it.
I
That's why
know.
left-wing media outlets like the Times are
And you
featuring it.
have and you have fucking retards like fucking Marjorie Taylor Greene and fucking Thomas Massey who are still focused on fucking Israel, and they go, "Oh, well, they're anti-Israel. You know who else is anti-Israel? Nick Fuentes." And it's like, and the Tucker thing, right? Tucker is just the publicist for Nick Fuentes, right? Nobody really has a problem with Tucker Carlson. I mean, by all measures, if you look at any of his videos, you can't really clip him where he looks bad. He always has an out. Nick Fuentes, though, we have so many clips. We have hours of
Oh, I mean,
footage.
there's no out.
We
Yeah.
have hours of footage of him, right? So the criticism that we've been giving to Tucker Carlson is you just literally said, "Hey, bro, I got you. Let me give you a boost," right? You can't get over that fence, right? Let me give you 10 fingers. I'll boost you over that fence. And right after his interview, New York Times, New York Post, all these articles, and I'm telling you, bro, it's going to fucking destroy us. So while I do agree with Matt Walsh that we should be focusing on the left, we can't, right? I would love to. That would be fucking great, right? Instead, what we have to do now is we have to deal with the immediate problem so we can get to the bigger problem. And I think that we can do it because what I'm seeing with Brandon Tatum, with Dana Lash, he's been
Brandon
crushing it.
Tatum has been awesome.
Yeah, he really has. I watched his video on the trigonometry, and I didn't know a lot about him, so it was nice to see his whole backstory with the football thing and all that stuff. Great, great, great guy. You know what else I love about Brandon Tatum is in his backstory is he's like I was smoking. He's like my first encounter with the cops. I was smoking weed when I was 8, and the dude goes 8. He's like 8. It's like I'm like. So he's got a troubled past, like, and I
Right,
love
checkered
that,
past, yeah.
I have a checkered past too, so I like it when I
Oh,
can
I have
relate
no
to people.
problem with someone comes from. I mean, I think it's better. You've lived it. You
Mm,
know it. It's not,
exactly.
you have that experience that not a lot. I'm not
That's
saying now. That's not me saying, hey, everybody, go fuck your life up on drugs and then rebuild it. Like,
well. That's
avoid
why.
that.
That's why
But
I joke so much about like, oh, I used to do coke off a toilet seat, right? Because I don't anymore, right? Where it's like I've learned to actually appreciate it. Where it's like I'm not ashamed of it at all. Where it's like, oh, if I wasn't such a loser when I lived in Florida, if I wasn't such a fuck up, I wouldn't have come to Massachusetts, started my company, built my company. I was homeless twice, right? I was like, so I don't think that I would be where I am if I wasn't a fuck up, right? Like if I was just,
Well,
and this is
sometimes, and that's it. It's always darkest before the dawn,
this
is
is
what they
the
say,
and
right? So
this is the appreciation I have for Zohran Mamdani, where in New York, I'm saying, I go, guys, it might be a really good thing, right? Because New York is about to go on a bender. Okay, New York is
yes,
New York is
yeah,
about to look like Nick Cage in Leaving Las Vegas. Okay, it's going
yeah.
to be bad, all right?
The
And
only thing, the only thing, and my wife brought this up today, is because we were talking about it, and I said, look, it's not going to happen overnight. It may take probably 20 years from now to really hit. It's possible that it takes that long.
I think
But
less.
if mom, if Mom Donnie, if Mom Donnie allows unfettered migration into the city, specifically from Muslims, you don't get the city back. That's not coming
No,
back. And that
once they come
and
in,
it's
they
like
don't leave.
Dearborn.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing where he's not just the Marxist, he's the, as you call him, we call Islamo
Islama
Marxist. So
Marxists.
if he starts flooding the city with Muslims, you're never getting the city back. It's gone.
That's true. That's true. All right, boys and girls, let's do a quick ad read. We're going to practice these. Shawn, we were at 22.5 hours when we started this. Let's do a little ad read for Rumble Premium. I'm already glitching because I opened the fucking screen, but let's
Oh my
let's
gosh,
get
I
it.
see that. Yeah.
All right, boys and girls. And here we
I'm
go.
used to doing ad reads, so I'm going to put my feet up and see what we got going on here.
All
Dead
right.
serious.
So, you've probably noticed Rumble is growing fast and it's not slowing down. They're building a real alternative to big tech that puts creators first and actually protects free speech. And now there's Rumble Premium, an easy way to upgrade with your experience. With Premium, you get ad-free viewing across the platform, no pre-rolls, no interruptions, just the content you came for. Plus, Premium members unlock exclusive content like bonus videos, behind the scenes drops, and more from your favorite creators. Right now, Rumble is offering $10 off an annual subscription. Just go to rumble.com/premium and use the promo code STUDIO at checkout. That's rumble.com/premium, promo code STUDIO. No ads, more freedom, and the content you actually care about. That's the deal. All right. All right.
Nice.
Now, yeah, so
Bro.
these ad reads, it says completed 34 cents, right? Like trust me, I'm not getting a lot of money for these. It's more about practicing to remember to do it. So when I do the Rumble creator program, I don't forget to do it, because like that's what I'll end up doing. I'll be like, oh, I got my 30 hours, and then at the end of the month, yeah, you only did 4 ad reads. Fuck.
Right.
All right, we're gonna pop this chat out. Okay, so we covered the Candace Owens, we covered Eric Kirk, we covered the Mamdani, the elections. What else happened this week? That fucking plane crash, dude. Did you see that fucking thing?
Yeah.
Holy shit! I saw the new video, the one with the truck driver took, the one from the dash cam. Did you see that one? Holy shit! You know what I found out?
20,000. Let's see what it said. Hold on, I'm gonna see.
I found out that fucking plane was built in 1991. I think I know the culprit.
Wow.
I think I know what happened. Right? Like 1991 that plane was manufactured. Like that's fucking insane. That's 34 years ago.
That's a long time. It's an old plane.
Yeah. That's a little much.
It was carrying 280,000 gallons of jet fuel.
Wow.
So,
actually got bored watching chicks on the right because they clapped back against NF. Who's NF?
Nick Fuentes.
Oh, Nick Fuentes. They want people to question him too, not softball. I actually got bored watching. No. I think that's a typo. Watched chicks on the right because I got on board. Watched chicks on the right because they clapped back at Nick Fuentes.
There it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So the thing is, you got chicks on the right, you got Brandon Tatum, you got obviously us. We're the smaller accounts. I mean, you're actually blowing up. I checked your followers. You're getting pretty big up there on X at least, and you got the LFA audience, right? Me, I feel like like I'm I think that I'm doing way more for a creator that doesn't have as much reach. I'm not tooting my own horn here. I'm just saying there's a lot of bigger creators that have some opinions that align with mine. But for some reason, I mean, I might be crazy here, but I think that a lot of people have shared my posts and they've been like, that guy Misfit's the one, and a lot of people are hearing my name, even though my follower account isn't going up, and I don't care. I don't care about the followers. I care about the message. And I think that's because of the way that I deliver the information, right? It's kind of hard to look away. It's like a train wreck, right? I just call people cunts. I'm like, yeah,
Right.
fuck that cunt. So I'm seeing some positive momentum in the anti woke right movement, and I can tell it's definitely way bigger than it was 6 months ago, way bigger than it was even 3 months ago. So as long as we keep going in this direction, this will be over soon. And that's what I predicted many times over the past year. I was like, guys, if we just clean this rot, if we just cut this rot out of the party. And by the way, the Groypers now, the woke right, whatever you want to call them, they were celebrating the wins for all of the blue districts turning.
Yeah,
They
they
go
were, and Fuentes admitted it. He said
jubilant.
they were jubilant. Yeah.
Jubilant at the big blue wave. First of all, right, not to downplay what happened yesterday, but is it really a blue wave if you win blue districts in, like, if it's a what is it even called, a midterm? It's the
It's an
2025
off-year election. That's what it's
off.
called.
Yeah, so you have an off-year election where Democrats won in Democrat districts, heavily favored. That's not a blue wave, right? That's just like, all right, Republicans didn't overperform, so they're really happy about that. And I watched the video that they were referring to where Nick Fuentes was like, "We are jubilant. We are taking over the party." And I'm like, "Motherfucker, who's we? Are you a Democrat?" Right? Like, what are
Right.
you talking about? Like, he's like, "Yes, you're gonna lose, which means we're gonna win." It's like, bitch, if we lose, the country loses. You don't win shit. And there was another one where somebody was like, I made a post and I go, let's be very, very clear. MAGA can win without the Groypers. The Groypers would not be known without MAGA. And somebody
Right.
goes, actually, you can't win elections without the Groypers. And I go, well, have you heard of the 2024 election? Because
Right. Where he, yes.
Nick Fuentes told everybody not to vote for Donald Trump. Who's your president, motherfucker? Right? Like, yes, we can win without the Groypers. So anybody like Matt Walsh who's saying, well, let's use them, let's bring them in. Kevin Roberts with the Heritage Foundation made another dumb statement. He's like, maybe we can, convert some of them. No. Listen, cut that shit out. Just cut it out. Like, I understand that everybody's trying to give grace and benefit of doubt and be like, yeah, no, cut it out. Right? Listen, there is a very good reason, and it was the right thing to do, that the Nazis were ostracized. Right? There's a very good reason the Nazis were ostracized, right? It's like, because it's kind of like when a dog bites people, you go, all right, look, maybe if you got a farm we can send him to, like, I mean a real farm, not the euphemism. Maybe there'll be
Right.
somebody that can handle this crazy dog if they got a lot of land and the thing can run around and eat a couple of rabbits. But you don't make it a house pet after it's chewed up a kid's face, right? These
Yeah.
kids are done. They're done. They're out of the party. Tucker's out of the party. They're out of the party. We're done, right? And they can start their own fucking party. They might as well, because they're pretty much all libertarians anyway. They're all retarded
Well,
isolationists.
most neo-libertarians are, I consider them to be essentially like anarchists, you know?
They really
I
are.
mean, look, you need, I understand we don't want a strong central government. I don't want a strong central government. I don't like authoritarians.
Yeah.
But because I don't want a strong central government does not mean I want no government. You can't have that either, because if you can't talk about how we stand for law and order, how do you pass laws and have order? Well, you need a government to pass laws, and in order to achieve order, you need to execute those laws and enforce those laws. You need a governing authority if you want order.
Yeah.
I want it to be as small as possible, but a lot of these neo-libertarians are just like, burn it all down. Well, that's anarchy. That's
Yeah.
not libertarian.
Well, I mean, if you look at their ideals, right? Like these people they're anti-interventionist, but they're also pro-authoritarian. So I don't understand how those two things work together, right? Where they're
Right.
like they're big because like Hitler wasn't like, you know what we should do? We should make Germany great and leave everyone else alone. He wasn't like that, right? He was like no, no, no. We want Germany everywhere, right? Like, and that's why I said so like with the Brett Cooper thing, I'm sure you saw that video where
Yeah.
Brett Cooper was going after Ted Cruz, and she was like, you know, just a month ago you said they don't call you Nazis so that they call you Nazis so that they can kill you, and then you called Nick Fuentes a Nazi, and I'm like, well, Nick Fuentes calls himself a Nazi. Like Nick Fuentes calls himself Team Hitler, so it's not the same thing. It's a false equivalency. But I was like, while we're being mad about calling Nick Fuentes a Nazi, even though he self-identifies as one, right? Let's define neo-Nazi. So I put the definition that Grok gave me, and it's obviously white supremacy. I think that's a given. Nick is very clear about that, white supremacy.
Right.
It's
Right.
the majority of his content. Anti-Semitism, I think that's fair, and I'm not throwing the word around like, you know, like Matt Walsh is an anti-Semite because no, he's not. Dave Smith is not. He's just a moron. There are plenty of people who are not Steven Crowder, a bunch of people, not anti-Semites. And then there was authoritarianism, right? What is the thing that Nick Fuentes said? Your body, my choice. Uh, when Roe v. Wade got overturned, right? They love it when the government does shit. They love it when the government, like, they want more centralized government with as much power as possible so that they can crush the opposition. And then there was military interventionism, and they claim that they don't want that. That was the only one that doesn't really fit with the new ideology that they are espousing. But
Right.
however, if you said to Nick Fuentes and his whole group, do you think we should bomb Israel? What do you think he'd say?
They would say yes.
Yeah. So you are actually for military interventionism. You know, it's just you just don't like the
Well, I
military.
remember back during, remember World War III.
Well,
So,
you know what else?
they
You know
were
what
like,
else?
well, the only country we should bomb is Israel. I'm like, so you do want to go to war? You
You know
just
what
want to go
else?
to war with Israel?
What else is really funny is I haven't heard a single fucking peep out of any of these people when Donald Trump said that he was thinking about going into Nigeria.
Not a word. And I actually asked on my show, I think it was Monday morning, and I said, look, I am asking sincerely because I don't know how we feel, and I'd like to take our pulse. I
Oh,
said,
I saw that.
I don't want to see
Is you
Christians
said
dying.
you asked, is it the U.S.'s job to go into
Is
Nigeria?
it our job? Is it the job of our government to go in there and do it? Yes or no? I mean, put morals aside, all that aside, and it was very interesting. It was pretty split. It was pretty split.
I have a very nuanced answer to that. It is not our job right now, but I think that we can make the argument that it is our responsibility because if Islam is always a threat to the West. Okay?
Agreed.
So Islam has an end game. It's a political ideology. It's not a religion, it's a political ideology. And
Right.
that political ideology, they have an end game. And the end game is the destruction of the West. So one could make the argument because they are slaughtering Christians in Nigeria, we would like to take a preventative measure to slow them down to prevent their inevitable end game where
And so my only question then would be, how is that different than what we were doing with domino theory and the spread of communism with Vietnam and Korea and all of that? right?
There,
Because
yeah.
those, like, it's the same mentality, and I don't disagree with the idea that Muslim or Islam is a threat to the West, and their end game is conquest of the West, right?
Hmm.
Like that is 100. It's I said, is it the government's job
Short answer,
to
no.
do that in Nigeria? Short answer, I think government's job
No.
to put boots on the ground? No.
No.
Now, to
No.
lobby in favor of ending human rights atrocities, yeah. I mean,
Sure.
sure. Hey, stop slaughtering Christians, right?
Correct.
Like, but but is it? Do we have the duty to do military intervention? I would say short answer, no.
Hmm.
But a case can be made down the road. If we don't do it now, what are we looking at in a few years? Type
What
of
I
thing.
what I would want in this particular situation is for Congress to come together, get a panel of people together, present all the evidence for why there is a good argument to do a strike, and present it to the people. And then I would feel a lot more comfortable about it. But right now, I don't even think they can make the argument. And look, I am a Christian. I I think I'm very anti-Islam. So if I was commander in chief, I would want to do it, right? But I would also understand that it's really not my job. Now, what Trump has done, which is what he's always done, right, is he's said, "Hey, don't do that, or we might do this," right? And he doesn't have the authority to do it. I don't believe. Pete Hegseth came out and goes, "Yes, sir, we're ready to do this," right? And I think this is all kind of, and look, you can't make a threat that you can't back up. So I'm not saying that Donald Trump is making an empty threat that he can't back up, but what I'm saying is the threat that he's making is vague enough where it wouldn't be boots on the ground, where it would be more like, we
Precision
will,
strikes that with Iran
yeah,
or
we
drop,
might
yeah.
do, hey, we might do something. We might work in conjunction with our allies and under the NATO agreement and blah, blah, blah. But as
No,
far,
you know what? Just call them Assad. They'll ship them a pack of beepers, and
yeah,
that'll be the end of
you
that.
know, you know, what's funny is
You
in the
know,
in
right?
the
I mean,
in the
it's
Myron
nice to know a few Jews, ain't it?
in the Myron this is, I loved how Steven Crowder pushed back against Myron on this, like, one point where he was talking to Myron about, do you think that if the US, because what Myron argues, what Dave Smith argues, what a bunch of fucking retards argue, Owen Schroyer, is they go, we should just pull out. We should just pull out, let them fight their own wars. And Steven Crowder goes, do you think that if we did that, it would be better or worse for the Palestinians? Because I'm pretty sure that the only reason Israel hasn't nuked Palestine is because of the US, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Do you realize, and after what they are, their capabilities, I know they're a country the size of New Jersey, but do not get it twisted, right? That little fucker can bang out everybody around him, right? That fucking country is a honey badger, right? It will fuck up every goddamn region around them if there was no brakes. If there was no governor, if nobody was holding them back, they would fuck shit up. So Steven Crowder made the argument. He goes to Myron Gaines. He goes, okay, so if it, he goes, and by the way, I'm in the camp Crowder where I say, don't fund anybody. I don't think that we should have foreign aid to anybody. I don't think that we should fund anybody. I think that we should have strategic allies and partnerships where if Israel wants to buy our weapons, we sell them weapons, right? If other places want to buy our weapons, we sell them weapons. But I don't think that we should be giving anything to anybody. I never have thought that, right? I think that aid is ridiculous. Like, unfettered just money or things on promises that don't show a return. I agree with that. I don't think that that's really what it's way more complicated with our Israel situation because we do get
Well,
a
there's a
return.
constitutional argument, which is interesting. There's a constitutional argument that basically says any sales of weaponry, foreign aid, transactions of that nature, that it all should be done via signed treaties, and not budget proposals and things like that. So there, I mean, there's an originalist argument where it's like the whole aspect of foreign aid and weapons sales outside of a treaty may in and of itself be unconstitutional anyway. And I
Yeah,
would love to see a challenge like that,
I
because
would too.
you talk about the military industrial complex panicking. If it comes out like, so for example, I think the Trump tariffs are going to get overturned in the Supreme Court, because there's a very compelling argument, constitutional argument, that it sounds like the justices are leaning towards, that basically says Trump is using emergency powers to implement these tariffs, but it's an overreach or an abuse of those powers. We'll see.
Well, we
But
should talk about the
I,
nuclear
I think
option after
I
this.
think the idea here, about foreign aid, weapon sales, and transactions of that nature. I mean, why not challenge that? Why not say it? Because then you
It's
talk
out of his
about,
hands.
that's it, right? So,
But yeah,
you said the
so
nuclear option. You're talking about the filibuster,
yeah, but hold on. Let's finish this thought. I just wrote it down so I don't forget. Um, But anyway, so what Steven Crowder was saying to Myron Gaines is he goes, okay, he's like, you got you're all these people who are like, we need to decouple, we need to get out, we need to stop this, we need to stop that. He's like, do you think that stabilizes or destabilizes? And Myron Gaines was like, no, I think it actually stabilizes. And Steven goes, how? Right? And he didn't have an
right?
argument for it. And he's like, and then Myron's rebuttal was, well, I think one of two things happens. I think all the Muslim countries surrounding them, they just come down on them, and Israel is forced to give Palestine a two-state solution, or Israel just drops nukes on them. And Steven Crowder goes, okay, so what you're saying is I'm right, right? Like what you're saying
Right.
is if America is not having these deals where they're constantly keeping everybody from killing each other, then they'll kill each other. So your argument is you want more death and destruction, right? And it's like, it's a good fucking argument for interventionism. I am not an interventionist, a total interventionist, right? Charlie Kirk said it best. Charlie Kirk said, we have been lied to that there is, and being fed this false binary that there is only interventionism or isolationism.
Isolationism,
And
right?
Donald Trump showed us a third way, and it's called peace through strength. It's
Correct.
That's the reality, right? Peace through strength means we are not full on interventionists. We are strategic interventionists where we give the carrot and the stick and we flex our muscles and we use our military to keep everybody from fucking killing each other, because if they're fucking done killing each other, they're coming for us next. It's a good argument. Right? It's a third option. There doesn't have to be strict isolationists. You don't need to call everybody that is for peace through strength a fucking neocon, because that's the new talking point from the woke right.
Right. Now
Everybody's a
everybody's a
neocon.
neocon. Yeah.
I'm a neocon because, dude, you know what I fucking noticed? I noticed that the fucking woke right, maybe it's just with me, but they are way more fucking sensitive than the woke left about this like this fake moral outrage about death, right? They are literally calling for the extermination of the Jews. But if I say I'm okay with Israel bombing a fucking group of Hajis, they're like, what about the children? And I'm like, do you care about
Right.
the fucking children? Because honestly, I don't. I'm sorry. But anyway, yeah, I wrote it down. Before we get out of here, I want to get your thoughts on this because I have been wrestling with this all day, right? Because I have had to ask myself, what is my actual position on this topic? Have I just been part of a group think? Have I been doing the team sport thing? Because I've always thought that I liked the filibuster, and then I realized I don't know if I like it or not. Because it's not an original thing. It's not something that's been here for a long time. I think it was 1980 they brought this out. So Donald Trump is now proposing that we go with the nuclear option, which means ending the filibuster, which means that we would be able to pass things with a 51 vote, a simple majority. Because if you guys don't know what the filibuster is when there is a vote that has a 51 majority, the minority can literally just talk until they're blue in the face until the other side gives up and doesn't pass the bill. So what do you think, Sean?
Well, the filibuster was introduced in 1806. So this is not something that goes all the way back to the Constitution. But the
And it was
filibuster,
ended in 1980, or it was like reformed in 1980 or something like that.
the cloture threshold was reduced to 3/5 of the Senate, 60 votes in 1975,
That's what it
which
was.
remains the standard. So, look, I like there are things about the filibuster that I like, things about the filibuster that I don't like.
Mhm.
I think I still lean pro filibuster because I don't think it should be easy to make laws.
Me
and pass
too.
laws.
That's
I think it
so.
should be.
Me too.
I think it should be a challenge. And so, but in the same respect, where that used to kind of guarantee that both sides were going to have to work together and find common ground and pass legislation with that common ground. I don't, we're dealing with oil and water here. Like both
Yeah.
sides can't even figure out not to give health care to illegal aliens to reopen the government and put air traffic controllers back to work. Right. Like, so are we past that now? I think if you ask me, I say do not end the filibuster. And the only reason I say that is because the downstream effects of that, when inevitably Republicans are not in power in these
Is
these
they won't
is
just abuse it. They will redefine the country.
they will destroy it. Now there's been talk that Republicans would end the filibuster, but not for everything that goes through the Senate, just like funding bills, CRs, appropriations, and things like that. So it would be like how they use the nuclear option when it comes to confirming judges. That used to be 60 votes, and now it's a simple majority.
Mm-hmm.
They would eliminate the filibuster for issues like this,
But you know what?
but
What
not
happened with
for
that?
legislation. And I think that's okay.
But what happened with that was we had Biden push through a fuck ton of unqualified judges. Remember? So
Well, right. Well, that was actually it was Harry Reid from Nevada that did it, and he invoked the nuclear option. And Mitch McConnell came back and said, "You will rue the day." And Democrats did rue the day because the following term, Donald Trump got Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett through with a simple. So we've done it too,
okay,
right? And
yeah.
so, it's not that we ended we they ended it. We took advantage of them ending it, right? You don't have Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett if there's still 60-vote threshold for judges. So
If we were to nuke the filibuster option, would they be able to push through like voter ID and stuff like that?
Well, in the way that it's being talked about now, where they say nuking the filibuster just to pass a CR, or it's so that's the new norm, is that there is no 60-vote threshold when it comes to CRs, because this would prevent government shutdowns in the future, right? Then I don't think it would matter about voter ID, because that's a different type of resolution, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the type of nuclear option that I think I'd be okay with.
Sure.
If you say, all right, just like judges, it's limited now, 51 is limited to judges and continuing resolutions and funding bills, then I go, okay, fine. When it comes to legislation, I mean, you're going to get to a point, you take the filibuster out, right? Let's say the filibuster's gone completely. There is no filibuster. You're going to have one party make laws, and then the next party is going to repeal those laws. And then the next party is going to unrepeal, so it's going to be ping pong, and no one's going to know what the hell's going on at some point down. The only other thing I'll say about the filibuster is, the filibuster is supposed to be, it's extended debate on a resolution debate. Right now they got this nonsense like cloture, right, which ends debate. They're not debating anything right now.
I know.
Right? You used to have to go up there and actually speak.
Yeah.
And forever, and then when you were done, that was it.
Yeah.
Right? So I think if we're gonna filibuster, if the Democrats are gonna do it, then you better get your asses up there and start reading a phone book.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it. Yeah.
Not play this game where like, oh, we haven't ended debate. You haven't started debate. No one's debating.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, I don't know. I think that I agree with you. I don't think that it should be easy because I don't think that I don't think that we're getting better. I don't think that this is going to get better. I don't think it's going to get better for a very long time as far as the divide, as the polarization goes. So ending the filibuster to me is just scary because while I understand what Trump is basically saying, he's like, end it because if you end it, then we can push through my whole agenda and I'll set you up for JD Vance and JD Vance will win and he'll continue my agenda. And I'm like, yeah, but you know what, dude? I really, 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 really thought that you were going to win in 2020 and they stole it. So all they have to do is steal an election. And then that's not there. So I don't know. 508J Fisher in the chat says all the Republicans need to do is grow a spine and gerrymander their districts to the turn of distracting the Dems out of seats like they do with Republicans.
Districting, I think you meant, not
Yeah.
distracting.
Oh, to the turn of districting the Dems out of seats. So there's also that Prop 50 in California opened up. I think that Gavin Newsom is going to rue the day on that too, because I think that now.
Well, now that's where I am in agreement with the left overplayed their hand.
Yeah.
I think now there were a handful of Republican states that said we're not getting into this redistricting fight,
and now they're going
and then California did Prop 50, and now it's like now we have to.
Exactly.
Now we have to.
So I think that might be coming up down the line. And there was also that 19 seats that we're going to be adding for that whole, what's the situation on that?
That's an awesome case. That's a lot of Supreme Court geekery, but they're evaluating the scope of Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, which essentially
in Louisiana.
A lot of states, the challenge came from Louisiana. A lot of states draw race-based districts because they're afraid of being sued under Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, so they overcompensate. They're like, not only are we giving equal representation to minorities, we're giving them exclusive districts.
Yeah.
But that in and of itself, that practice in and of itself is a violation of the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment.
Yes.
So the Supreme Court's going to look at that and say, you can't use Section 2 to coerce states into doing this. And even worse, states that are doing this, that's not constitutional. That needs to be redrawn. So once you start
redraw
up those districts, yeah.
But no, what I was asking is when does that? What's the status of that? Are they going to?
I think that's going to have to happen. I think before the Supreme Court term ends.
That's every few months or something, right?
Yeah, it's usually every few months. Yeah.
Well, I guess we're going to see what happens. All right. We're almost at 2 hours.
This is the only other problem. This is the only other thing I say about the filibuster. Okay. You get rid of the filibuster and you have House, Senate, Democrat rule. You could say goodbye to a 9-seat Supreme Court.
You can say goodbye to the country.
Can say goodbye to a 9-seat.
No, you can
Congress can pass a law that says, "Oh no, we want 15 people on the Supreme Court." And Democrat Congress, Democrat Senate, you're getting 6 new Democrats.
That's what scares me. It's like, you got the whole, bird in the hand's worth 2 in the bush argument. I get it. I get that Trump is like really, really antsy to solidify his legacy and push his agenda through. I get it. I want it too, but at the same time, I don't want to push all of my chips into the middle of the table yet. I think that we can still do this because it's, got to remember, dude, it's 1 year ago today. It's like 1 year ago today, Donald Trump won the presidency. He still has 3 more, which means we're good. We're 25% of the way through. That's 75% more time to do this. So I don't know. I say you just say, hey, you know what? If the government's fucking shut down, it's shut down. And by the way, we all know that the government's not going to be shut down for much longer because now that the Democrats were all holding out until the Mamdani race was over. And I did want to talk about that real quick before we get out of here. Because I said this earlier. I think that what they did, one of the reasons why this quote blue wave, which wasn't really a blue wave, happened, was because the Democrats did use that very strategically. They shut the government down to put a bunch of people in poverty, in fear, and then they offered them a candidate that
Not to
would give them
mention Virginia, by the way, where there's a
well
lot of government jobs.
they offered them a candidate that would give them free shit, right?
Yeah.
So they took their free. This is how I said it earlier. I go, they took your free shit away, and then said, "This is the free shit candidate." Right? You should vote for the free shit candidate because the shit candidate will give you your free shit back. And I really do think that that's what they did. Again, I don't know if any of these races would have gone an opposite way because of the candidates that were in the races. I don't think that we put our A team out there in
No, we did not put
2025.
our A team out there.
I
No.
only care if they put their A team out there in 2026. That's really all I care about, right? I honestly think we gotta get rid of Massey. I think that we got to I think Marjorie Taylor Greene and her new I'm running for president thing is like that's basically her saying, okay, MAGA is done with me because I went all anti-Jew. And I think that she's right. I don't think that Marjorie Taylor Greene has a long future in her current position. So she's going to try to work her way up the ladder. We'll see. We will see. But it is 10:30. I am exhausted. So let's get out of here. We'll do the shout outs real quick. We got 508 Jay Fisher, Cincy Rock 27, Dean South 8, Roadrunner 513. I'm not reading the YouTube. You better get if you're on YouTube and I can see the comments in your in here, but I will not read them. In the end of night shout out. You got to get your ass over. It's right above Sean's head. It says rumble.com/TMP Uncensored. Emerald Sonic 78 on the Edge. HR Shaw. And actually, that's it because I had to close out the chat because of glitchiness. So I lost the old chat. So if I didn't read out your name, I apologize. Come back tomorrow and I'll read it out then. Sean, what are you doing? What do you got going on for the rest of the week?
Same old, same old. Back live tomorrow, live on the radio on Friday from 7:45 to 9:45 Eastern, in our show Friday. A lot of just same old, right? That's what we do. And then Jeremy and I, we have our sports show on Saturday, the Rumble Rundown, which we have a blast on. It's a lot of fun.
I didn't know. I heard you say something about that. It's a live show?
Yeah, we do it live
okay.
on Saturdays.
What time?
Yeah, Saturday mornings. 9 to 11 Eastern.
Oh, cool. I'll check that out because I'm usually not doing anything Saturday mornings. I have an interview scheduled. I'm not going to say with who because I don't know if they want me to say it, but a lot of you like them. A lot of you follow them. And I think that's going to be tomorrow. It was supposed to be today, but there was some difficulties with getting their studio set up because of construction. So stay tuned for that. The thing that I'm not telling you about. And I also got invited to go down to Florida. I'm not going to say where. Somebody that you definitely know, a very, very big conservative podcast. One of the people that's on there. I might go down and do that. So you might see me with some people that you know in the coming weeks. So.
Cool.
I know I didn't say much there. I'll tell Sean. I'm not going to tell you guys.
Yeah,
but,
my lips are sealed. I don't tell secrets.
But anyway, speaking of, I gotta ask you. So we're gonna talk about that after we cut this video. After we cut this stream, I'm gonna ask you about why your little trip was so awful. All right, boys and girls. You guys can stew about what we're talking about, but we are out of here. All right, we'll see you later. Okay, and the stream. I actually let this whole thing go for the whole 2 hours on YouTube and X as well. So you guys got yourself a free show. I think I'm just gonna let the weekly breakdown run. So guys, if you come on the weekly breakdown, I'm not gonna do the thing that I do where I cut it off halfway through. I'll let you guys watch the whole thing. But as of right now, 1 hour, 59 minutes, 49 seconds. Let's give it 10 more seconds and just cut it right at the 2 hour mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you later.